Rickie Fowler walks to the 14th tee during Sunday's final round at the Masters. David Goldman/Associated Press. Rickie Fowler is as constant of a presence as a clubhouse doorman, always standing by the 18th hole to shake the winner's hand. He is golf's most prominent backslapper, extending that generous palm. There he was again Sunday on the veranda of Augusta National, offering up his congratulations to the man to whom he had just lost in the Masters by a single stroke, Patrick Reed. It was an interesting gesture, and not quite the magnanimous one that it seemed. Actually, it was a form of self-torture. I goad. Fowler is the best loser in golf right now, and that's a compliment, not an insult. No other player is studying so very closely how to use the wearying repetitive experience of losing in the quest to become a great. Fowler has stood by, in those electric colors that beg for iconic status, and watched his friends Jordan Spieth, Bubba Watson, Justin Thomas and now Reed win majors, as they marched past him and hoisted trophies. He made himself stand by the finishing hole and consciously absorb the sting. He didn't do it just to be a good sport. Well, it's fun to see your friends play well. I want to beat my friends when they're playing well, he said last week, explaining why he is always hanging around, handshaking the winner. It's a motivation factor in a way. It is also kind of a kick in the butt to get yourself to kind of keep pushing forward. 8 times Fowler has finished among the top 5 in a major, more than anyone who hasn't won one. It's an interesting question whether character is really born of failure. Though we like to say so, the evidence is ambiguous. Losing doesn't always lead to winning, and it actually can become a contagious, whining, sour bad habit. Witness Sergio Garcia's years-long struggle before he broke through at the Masters last year. The old Kiplingesque decree that winners are the ones who maintain their comportment even in the face of the deepest cuts to their souls has been disproved a million times by firebrands such as Reed. Sports are unjust, and golf can be particularly unjust. Sunday's final round was decided in part by 2 freakish bounces off thin pieces of wood. Spieth's stupendous comeback was marred by a tick off a tree branch on the 18th. And Reed got impossibly lucky on the 17th when he rammed the cup and the flagstick from 90 feet away. If there was one guy who was neither lucky nor unlucky, just purely consistently good Sunday, it was Fowler. In fact, he was the class of the weekend with rounds of 65 to 67, outplaying Reed, 67 to 71, and Spieth, 71 to 64, only to lose again. Previously, Fowler was an also-ran in final rounds because he pressed, or was paralyzed. In the 2017 U.S. Open at Erin Hills, he shot a middling 72 and was outmuscled by Brooks Koepka. He led on the back 9 of the 2014 PGA Championship at Valhalla but was passed by a slightly hotter Rory McIlroy. He admitted, still feeling the nerves and dealing with tough rounds and things not going your way. But this Sunday was something wholly different from Fowler. He birdied the 12th, 13th, 15th and 18th holes, to put maximum pressure on Reed. I gave it my all. I left everything on the golf course, he said. There was no freezing or fizzling. There was nothing he would take back. It's going to hurt, but I try and look at things more as glass half full, he said. Obviously, I want to be the one standing on top after the 4 rounds, but this is, if anything, it's a step forward and makes me feel better about going forward into our next major. I feel like this is a year to knock off our first. Fowler is due. He is now an 8-year veteran who seems to have found an equipoise to go with his accelerating aggressive swing and acetate clothing. There isn't always justice in golf, no, but it's hard to see how Fowler's sustained striving won't be rewarded sooner rather than later, and his optimism is based on more than just a feeling. There is concrete evidence, a wealth of clinical study, to show that losing is an excellent teacher if you're willing to be such a good student of it, to bear down and dispassionately analyze your failure. One fascinating study showed that NBA teams that trail at halftime win approximately 6% more often than expected, because they have more reason to analyze themselves at the break. Some of the most fascinating research lately focuses on the neuroplasticity of athletes, their ability to take sensory information and translate it into greater muscle control, and most importantly, to recalibrate their responses, through repetition. A 2017 study, Choking Interventions in Sports, a systematic review, shows that repetitive strategies such as performance routines and acclimatization training show a distinct benefit to performance under pressure. It's why Spieth can make a quadruple bogey at the 12th hole to suffer a humiliating loss in the 2016 Masters and turn it into merely a curious formative. How many of us would accept that disaster as the final verdict on who we are? How many of us would lose 8 times like Fowler, cringe in the face of crushing disappointment, and quit trying? This is what athletes really have to show us. It's the essence of their meaning and purpose, and it's why money is well spent to buy a ticket to watch them, and it's why it can be more interesting and rewarding to follow the losers than the winners. But the key, of course, is that players like Fowler are willing to put themselves in the same position again, and again, and again. They are willing to acclimatize. Losing is the cost of trying. Losing is the cost of aspiring. And the good losers make their peace with that. I am ready to go win a major, Fowler said, but this was kind of the first major week that I have understood that and known that and felt that.